a question that you want to ask Michael Shackelford, please put it in the comments and we will get to it as soon as we can. We typically do the earliest question first, and then the later questions we try to get to if we have time. While we're waiting for people to come in and ask their questions, Mike, what's been up with you? What's new with you? What are you doing different? How's life?
Thanks for asking. So I just came back from something I've always wanted to do, which is hike the entire Zion Narrows. And for those who don't know what it is, it's this canyon in Zion National Park that where a river goes through it. And in places, the canyon is so narrow, maybe 20 feet wide, that you can't hike in it without getting your feet wet. And at some point, you can't hike it without, the water might get up to here. And other places it's wider and you can hike around it. And it's 15.5 miles long from one end to the other. And I have been in it before, making it up to about the 5 mile point. But I've always wanted to hike the whole thing. So last weekend, me and 6 other people we had a camping reservation in the middle of it. There's just 12 camp places you can camp, and we did it, and it was great. I highly, highly, highly recommend it to anyone who can, take a difficult 15.5 mile hike and is somewhat experienced in doing things like that.
Wow, I'm really impressed.
Yeah,
do you have pictures?
I mean, to be honest, it wasn't the biggest physical achievement I've ever done. 15.5 miles over 2 days is not that big of a deal, but it was in water and slippery rocks and things like that. So, it was not easy either, but it sure was enjoyable. And I had a great time.
Awesome. Are you going to post your pictures on social media so we could see?
Yeah. So my newsletter today is about it, and I don't even know if that's come out yet, but it usually comes out on Thursdays. So please look in your email. It's probably landed in your spam folder for my newsletter today. It's one of the better ones I ever wrote, if I may toot my own horn. And if you don't get the newsletter, eventually they come up on the website if you click on the newsletter. So I have my newsletter today has lots of pictures from it, and it tells you more stuff about the trip and things that I might do differently next time.
Fantastic. So if you guys haven't already, check out his newsletter so that way you can see all those awesome pictures.
Yeah. So nice. Father Michael gave me some Bible trivia for today's show. So you guys get your Bibles ready, and there's no cheating, no Googling, but I will allow you to just use a Bible. And why don't we start out with a Bible question, and then we will jump right into the questions, shall we?
Sounds good.
Okay. And I may have asked this one before because it's one of my favorites. Which 2 books of the Bible do not mention God? And while you guys are noodling on that, Heather, ask me a question from the Peanut Gallery.
You got it. So our first question comes from Iov 2000. In Blackjack, are the shufflers, not the continuous shufflers, just the normal shufflers, are they truly random, or are they programmed to spread the cards in a pattern to thwart counters?
They are random. It would be highly illegal here in Nevada for them not to be. And as I've said many times, the casinos don't need to cheat to make plenty of money. And they would lose their license. It would be terribly embarrassing. They would lose all player trust if they were caught cheating. So it would be a very stupid decision to do something like that. Now, are the shufflers absolutely 100% perfect? No, players have found some flaws in them, but they're not flaws based on trying to cheat the players. It's just in, shall we say, sounds that the shufflers make and things like that I don't know that much about it. But I do know players have found some flaws in them. And that's about as far as I can take that.
I just want to add a couple things to that too. The honesty and integrity of the game is the utmost importance to the casino. Just, reiterating what you said. And also too, I know the shuffle machines they actually scan the cards and they keep track of the cards. So that way, if there's a card missing, you get a red light. And then the floor supervisor knows like there's a card missing, or there's like 2 of the same card that shouldn't be in there or something like that. So they're notified if there's anything or different or off about it immediately. So if you hear a dealer yell red light, that's what they're doing, is they're yelling for a red light on the shuffler.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Did anyone get my Bible question correct or incorrect?
We have, is it the parallel of palms and the book of Job?
Job.
Oops.
And it's
Hi, Anne.
okay. And it's not the Psalm of Psalms. It's the Song of Songs, also called the Song of Solomon. So, Anne, I'll give you 1/4 credit for getting one of the books, but somewhat incorrectly. Did anyone get the other one?
I don't see any other answers for the books unless the book is called Baccarat. Nope, don't see anything else.
No, the other book is the book of Esther, one of my favorite stories in the Old Testament. So with question number 1 out of the way, let's go to question number 2. True or false, there are giants in the Bible?
Like actual giants? Like real, it says real giants? Cool. So,
while you guys are thinking about that, Heather, please ask me another gambling question.
You got it. So our next question comes from Darren. Did you figure out if there was a player edge in the Bet365 sport betting? If an NFL team goes ahead by 17 or more points, it's an automatic money line winner.
Yes, I am glad you asked. In fact, I didn't remember who was doing that, so thanks for reminding me. But in my last Ask the Wizard column, I answer this question, and I put a lot of effort into answering it because it was not easy. I had to look at I think it was over 2,000 NFL games, and what I found was the probability of a team falling behind by 17 or more points and then catching up and winning is 2.1%. So that 2.1% of the time, you double it because it's going to flip a loss to a win. So it's worth 4.2% to the player. And the house edge on moneyline bets is only about 4.5%. So it cuts down the house advantage to a very low 0.4%.
Okay. Good to know.
You know, it might be even more valuable in a game with a lower point spread. So very good question. And look for more details on my answer in my latest Ask the Wizard column.
So go check that out if you haven't already. Yep. Always good information. You always give such great information out.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right.
Should we see if anybody
votes between true and false on giants being in the Bible?
There's a lot, actually. A lot of people responded. Okay, we got a false, true. Goliath. Wasn't Goliath a giant? How tall was Goliath? So mainly true.
I'm not sure if Goliath was a giant or just a very big man, to be honest with you. Okay, but everyone who said true, you are correct. Giants are indeed mentioned in the Old Testament. And here is, I believe, the first reference to them from Genesis 6:4. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were old men of renown. And the way the term for that gets translated is into a giant. So to put it in more plain, simple English, when a male angel had relations with a female human, the offspring would be a giant.
That's pretty interesting.
I'd be interested to know why you don't see giants anymore, but there you have it. So let's go on to question 3.
I think they're all sleeping under the mountains, and that explains the BFG right there.
There was a giant in the movie Big Fish.
Uh-huh.
That guy was huge. I don't know if there was any camera tricks with that, but that guy was huge. So anyway, okay, here is question number 3. True or false? There
Okay.
are unicorns in the Bible. So you guys think about that.
Okay, so
And Heather, you please ask me a gambling question from the peanut gallery.
will do. Our next question also comes from Darren. Other than sports betting, poker, and blackjack, are there any other casino games where a player gets the edge over the casino?
Well, I could talk about that one all day. There's all kinds of ways players can get an advantage over the casino. I'm just going to say one, and I've talked about this before, but so I'll keep it short. But there's a lot of slot machines now that have a player advantage sometimes, because there's a lot of games where every single spin is not independent, but depending upon what happens in one spin can affect what happens in another spin. For example, in Ocean Magic, if a bubble rises up, that bubble is wild and it's going to be on the screen for 4 spins. So if players leave a lot of bubbles on the left-hand side of the screen and walk away from the machine, the next player to play it is going to have an advantage, at least on his next spin. And there's a lot of games like this, and I've talked about this in more depth in previous live streams, so that is my short answer.
Sounds good. Okay, so what is our next trivia question?
What does the audience have to say about unicorns?
Unicorns. Mm-hmm. The answer to unicorns is unicorns true, unicorns false. Oops. Unicorns false. False, false, false. So it looks like everybody's saying false.
I thought I saw true there.
One true. So George says true.
Heather, do you believe in unicorns?
Do I believe in unicorns, or do I like and enjoy unicorns? 2 totally different questions.
I will ask both of them.
I love unicorns. I don't think they're real. If they are real, they look like rhinoceros.
Okay, the answer to my question is true. Unicorns are mentioned quite a few times in the Old Testament, and here is just one example from Isaiah 34:7. And the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullocks and with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness.
That's
so there you
interesting.
Go. If you believe in the Bible, you got to believe in unicorns.
That is so funny. I like that you brought that up. That's hilarious.
Isn't that good trivia?
It is.
That's the essence of a good trivia question. It has to be fun.
Well, what is our next trivia question?
Okay. The next one is, what is the site called where Jesus was crucified?
Okay. So
and this one is kind of
the answer.
Important to Christianity. So,
so you guys should know this.
Yep. So while you guys are trying to recall that information from Bible study, Heather, ask me a question from the peanut gallery, please.
So our next question is actually a religious question for you. Mm-hmm. I have found a math puzzle in the Bible. Everyone thinks that the animals went into Noah's Ark 2 at a time, but they're wrong. It's actually 4. A simple math puzzle is hidden in Genesis 7:2. Did you know about that?
No, but let me see if I can find my Bible.
Okay. Ooh, he's actually going to go look it up. And then...
Let's see what Genesis 7:2 has to say.
Sounds good. And let's go through.
Okay, here we go. Genesis 7:2. Take with you 7 of every kind of clean animal, a male and its mate, and 2 of every kind of unclean animal, a male and its mate, and also 7 of every kind of bird, male and female, to keep their various kinds alive throughout the earth. So yeah, I didn't know that. I thought it was 2 of each 2. So you take 7 of the clean animals but only 2 of the unclean animals. And 7 of every kind of bird. It doesn't specify how many males and how many females between the 7, but I guess the clean ones are more important. That's why you were supposed to bring more. So I'm not sure what the math puzzle is there. So please clarify to me what the puzzle is within that.
Okay.
To whoever asked that.
Okay. And then our answers to your trivia question, is it Goliath?
Nope.
No,
nope,
everybody
not to be
said
confused with Battlestar Galactica.
Gogatha?
Um,
Everyone is saying that. Golagatha.
Oh, okay. I think I think this might be a language issue. The answer I was looking for is Calvary or Mount Calvary, and Calvary in English gets translated, I believe, in Hebrew to skull. And
okay.
What the etymology is of Golgotha? Maybe that's the Hebrew word for it.
In that case, George got the answer correct because he did say the skull.
Okay. Well, to anyone who said Golgotha or the skull, I will give you credit.
Awesome. And George also clarified his question. 7 is an odd number, so it must be 7 pairs. So with unclean beasts, it's 2 pairs or 4 animals. What do you think?
Let me read Genesis 7:2 again. Take with you 7 of every kind of clean animal. It doesn't say 7 pairs. It says 7 total. So I'm not sure. Yeah. So feel free to write back and try to enlighten me on what the math puzzle is. Okay.
Okay. So what is our next trivia question?
Okay, so we discussed that one. Okay, actually, question 5 was a follow-up to number 4, so we already covered that. So here's question number 6: where is Samaria? And that is mentioned many times. For example, in the parable of the Good Samaritan. But there is no Samaria anymore. But where in the present day geography would Samaria exist? And with that, I will let the audience noodle on that. But I happen to remember on Wizard of Vegas, I had a question from Gilles. This is for you, Heather.
Oh.
So he said that he noticed my Forbidden Planet picture, which is normally in the back of the office. And let me find his exact wording. Question for Heather. I noticed the wizard has a Forbidden Planet movie poster in his study. I was wondering if you had seen the film, since it is one of the main inspirations for Gene Roddenberry when he was creating Star Trek. So Heather, what's your answer?
I didn't know that. No, I've never seen it. I need to see it now. That is definitely on my to-do list. Did not know that.
That is a great movie, by the way. I think that it is one of the most important movies in science fiction history. Of course, by today's standards, it seems terribly low budget, like this planet that they're on. You can tell that it's just like a big canvas background of, things that things that you might see in outer space and stuff like that. And Robbie the robot here, one of the original science fiction robots. He gets his first appearance in this movie. And this poster might make it seem like he's a bad robot, like he's kidnapping this woman. But no, in the movie, he's a friendly robot, and he would have done anything that woman told him to do.
Okay. Yep.
So
never seen it.
We'll
definitely see it. Awesome.
Okay. What does the audience have to say about Samaria?
They say, was it in Babylon?
I think Babylon was a separate place, but there is no Babylon anymore. So I'm looking for, if I wanted to go to the place that used to be called Samaria in biblical times, where would I go?
Would it be Africa?
No. No.
Would it be Africa?
No, it would not be Africa.
No, no, not Africa.
Nope.
How about Iraq?
Nope. Iraq is closer though.
Ooh.
All right. Any other questions about any other answers to that?
Nope, I don't see.
No, Samaria is in what is now the West Bank. It used to be part of Jordan, but Jordan, I would say, didn't want it anymore. And so it's now considered part of the Palestinian territory of the West Bank.
Okay.
So, okay. I see some comments about the Forbidden Planet. What is the audience saying about that?
So the audience is saying the Forbidden Planet is unique because it had no musical score. It was the first film to use a synthesizer.
I did not know that.
Yep. And I don't see any other comments about the Forbidden Planet. Am I missing any?
Okay, that's okay. No worries. Okay, here's the next trivia question. What are the names of Laban's daughters? So audience, noodle on that one. And Heather, please ask me another gambling question.
Our next question comes from Stefano. What is your go-to casino game to win the most money? I was thinking craps after learning the way you buy and lay bets, laying the odds and the don't come bets. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, it's not like casinos are a money tree for me. It's not like I can just go in one and win lots of money. If the only people that can depend on doing that are professional gamblers and true professional gamblers, just because you think you're one doesn't mean that you're one. And for most of them, it's not easy. You're usually either grinding out a very thin advantage, or you're just looking for a rare opportunity that, may just come around once in a while. So if I may rephrase the question a little bit, if I were going into a casino and I wanted to lose the least amount of money, I would either play video poker, blackjack, ultimate Texas Hold'em, or craps. And which one exactly of those four, it would depend upon the particular rules. But when you consider the comps that you get playing those games, it's similar to gambling for free.
Yeah. And also, too, I want to add what you were saying. As a dealer, we actually had professional, players on our tables every single day in and day out. Like that was their job and they did it all the time. Even professional gamblers lose. I mean, even they go on losing streaks and lose money. It's a very stressful job. It's not like they just go in and win every single time.
You're absolutely right. It is a roller coaster.
It is. Okay, so should we do the trivia question?
Okay, so I believe the last one I asked was Laban's daughters, and I see a correct answer there.
Ooh, is it Leah and Rachel?
Yes, it is Leah and Rachel. And aren't those beautiful names, by the way?
Yes.
And here's a little follow-up to that. Quoting Genesis 29:16, and Laban had two daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-flavored. What does well-flavored mean, you might ask? Biblical scholars say that it meant that she had a nice figure.
Sorry. Action to that. Okay. So,
and you might ask, who was Laban? Laban was the brother of Isaac.
Okay. So what is our next trivia question?
The next question, okay. Complete this Bible verse. Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for love is better than blank. Let him kiss me with kisses of his mouth, for love is better than what?
Good question. Okay, so if
and
you
while
guys
the audience is noodling on that one, Heather, please ask me another gambling question.
Sounds good. So our next gambling question comes from Peter, and Pete says, Blackjack staking system playing black basic incremental betting until a loss. How long until the house edge starts to kick in? So if you're doing a blackjack counting system, I'm assuming is what he's talking about, and you're using blackjack basic strategy, how long until the casino edge starts to kick in? So right away. It's like the first hand you play.
The house edge is there every single hand. It kicks in with the first hand. So I think what this what Peter is really asking is he probably is referring to a betting system that I've never heard of. Mm-hmm. And what happens with most betting systems is you usually do win at first, but eventually you hit a bad run and you lose everything that you won and more. And the way I interpret the question is, when can you expect how shall I put this, for the I guess steam to run out of the betting system? And there's no magic number. You're not guaranteed to even win at the beginning. You may have a bad run right from the beginning and never get out of that hole. So there's no magic number. Betting systems, as I've said many times, not only can't overcome the house advantage, they can't even dent it. So that's all I can think to say to that one.
Since that was such an easy question, let's ask one more easy question for you. Okay. Is it possible to make a living off the game of Baccarat?
Okay, certainly you're not going to make a living with any kind of a betting system. You're going to have to exercise some kind of advantage play, and there's not that many in Baccarat. Some side bets in Baccarat are a little bit countable, like the Dragon 7 and the Panda 8. And this may have changed, but it used to be that it was not illegal to use, shall we say, computers in the casino in Macau. So players could sit there at a stadium gaming place and enter every single card that came out in Baccarat, and basically using the computer and their cell phone, only betting when there was a positive expectation on one of the bets. And chances are Macau has made a law forbidding that by now. But yeah, you have to look for some sort of an obscure advantage play if you want to beat the game of Baccarat. And it's not a game that you hear very much about advantage players playing. So if I were an advantage player, I wouldn't be paying much attention to Baccarat.
Okay. Now let's see if anybody answered your question.
Okay. For love is better than what?
Wine.
Yes. Who said wine?
Nice. We got 2 correct answers. The Thought Bubbles and George. They both got wine.
Good job to the first name you said. Let me scroll up.
It was the Thought Bubbles.
Thought Bubbles and George Polly. You are absolutely right. And that comes from Song of Solomon, not Psalm of Psalms, and chapter 1, verse 2. And awesome. Moving right along, here is another complete the verse one. A wife of noble character who can find? She is worth far more than blank. Okay. A wife of noble character who can find? She is worth far more than what?
So put your answer in the comments and we will get to it after our next question. And we got a religious question, which fits the theme. So Darren wants to know, Michael, Heather, do you believe in God? I am Eastern Orthodox, and yes, I do believe in God.
Wow, that's a heavy question there, Darren.
Do you?
I've never publicly stated my position on religion before, and I don't think I'm going to change that right now.
Oh, okay, so we'll do mom's the word.
If we went out for a few beers, I would answer the question, but just no comment from me for now.
Should we go to the next question then? Oh, okay. Well, I'm just open. So everybody that knows me knows that I am an atheist. I do not believe in God. I do not believe in heaven. I do not believe in Satan. I do, however, believe the people on this earth are horrible and hell is on earth. So, woohoo.
Well, thank you for your honesty, Heather.
Heaven heaven is on earth too. I do want to state that as well. So it really just depends. Okay. So do you want to do another question?
How does that song go? Ooh, baby, do you know
You
what
know
it's
what it's
worth?
worth? Oh, heaven is a
It's
place on earth.
earth.
And I can't see neither. Yes. Okay.
All right. Good stuff, Heather.
Thanks.
Okay. Here's the next question.
Okay.
No, wait. I just asked the one, a wife of noble character is worth more than what? So, Heather, please ask. Okay. Let's get another question from the peanut gallery.
Okay, that sounds good. So we'll do that. So another question from the peanut gallery is, I just left that area. Give me 1 second to find it again. Here we go. So the next question is from Shadow. Do the continuous shufflers effectively combat counters? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
There are some exceptions. There was a game. I'm not sure I'm allowed to talk about that one. Never mind. Yeah, they pretty much thwart blackjack card counters. There may be some other games that use a continuous shuffler where they don't, but I think I'm sworn to secrecy on that one.
Okay, so mum's the word with that one too. Do you want to do another quick question?
I think that's been 2 peanut gallery questions. So, what a wife of noble character is worth more than what? What does the peanut gallery say?
Is it rubies?
Yes, it is rubies. So who said rubies?
Gary Branch, and also
job,
George Pauly said it after him, but Gary Branch was the first one.
You both get a point.
Sweet.
Okay, here comes the next question. True or false? God sleeps. What does the Bible say about that?
Oh, can I give my answer?
Sure.
Okay. So, yes, God does sleep, and that's where the stars come in from because, I had a whole thing about this and my mind just went blank. I was going to do a mythology and now I'm old. So I get these moments where I get brain farts and I don't remember what I was going to say. And this is one of those moments and it's on live television. So I love it when that happens. So if you guys know the answer, put the question in the chat and we will answer it. Our next question is from Catalan. The little red lights you place your progressive bet on, what all do they do?
Those are sensors that sense the weight of the chip. That's all they're there for. You put the weight of a chip on them and they turn red.
Yep.
They malfunction a lot too.
And they do malfunction a lot. You're absolutely right. So they're for the dealers. They are for progressives. They'll typically happen with progressives, usually high amount progressives. And it's sort of an anti-cheating maneuver that they use. So when you put your bet on there and the light turns red, the dealer will press a button and lock all the bets into place. Any bets that have that red light indicate that they paid the progressive amount. So if they win the progressive, it shows that they did in fact pay that progressive and they are earned or they are due a payout. It's a way to keep people from pass posting. So that way they can't get like the progressive and then pass post $1 on there and be like, okay, now you owe me $100,000. That's why you have to do it before you start betting and before the hand comes out.
Yep. And that way there's one less thing cluttering up the table. The light turns red, the casino can move those chips out of the way. And when I was playing at a casino in Brussels, most of the players there loved the side bets. And of course, I don't. So, and the table was full and there were back betting players. And, but anyway, the players were basically fighting over who got to make my side bet. And I was like, I don't care. You guys figure it out. And one time my hand won something and there got to be an argument between the players about who made the side bet. So that's the kind of thing that, the problem that technology, might be useful in solving.
Definitely.
Although it wouldn't really help in that situation. But I think the floorman had to come out there, and I don't remember all how it got resolved, but it just goes to show that side bets are not all good for the casino. They slow down the game and they can cause problems.
Yeah. And the more hands per hour the casino has, or the more hands per hour the game has, the more money the casino makes.
You're absolutely right. Okay, so what does the audience have to say about God sleeping?
Gary says that God never rests. Plenty of people say false. One person says true. Anne, I like Anne's answer. He only rests on the seventh day. And I love that answer. I think we got one more here. God never sleeps. He just rests. And then that's all of the answers we have.
Okay. Sounds like the majority was right.
I got a question for you real quick.
Does not rest. So the answer is false. And here is a verse to prove it from Psalm 122, verses 2-4 from the King James Version. For help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, that he that keepeth Israel shall never slumber nor sleep. And
the thought bubbles put that exact quote in there before you started reading that.
Good job, thought bubbles. Okay, let's move on to question 11.
I just have to say I really like Anne's answer. He only rests on the seventh day.
Well, he should, because it's one of the 10 Commandments to keep holy the Sabbath. Mm-hmm. And in the Old Testament, God would have people killed for the slightest bit of work on the Sabbath. So, I think that he should respect his own rules.
Exactly.
But that just means, the way I interpret it is that he's just resting, but not sleeping. Okay, question 11. What kind of tree did Jesus speak to?
Ooh. So put that in the chat.
Trying to remember the answer to that. Heather, please ask me another gambling question.
I have 2 fun questions for you, and then we'll do the one gambling question.
Okay.
Just for fun, if God were to sneeze, what do you say to him?
Well, normally I might say bless you, but it would seem silly for God to bless himself. I think I would just go with the German and say Gesundheit, even though I don't even know what that means in German. I've been saying it my whole life. I don't even know what it means. Maybe someone in the peanut gallery can tell me. But good question.
Our second one is why the peanut gallery? Why not the chip gallery, the card gallery, the die gallery, cashew gallery is more dignified? Why peanut gallery?
That is a good question. And it comes from the Howdy Doody show. Howdy Doody had a bunch of kids in his live audience, and he called them the peanut gallery. Why he did that, I don't remember.
But that's where we're basing it off of.
Yep. The Howdy Doody show. It's Howdy Doody time. It's Howdy Doody time. All right. And you had a serious question for me.
I do. So our next serious question is from... Here we go. And I can't pronounce the name. Who regulates casinos on ships? Are their slot payouts much different than established land-based casinos?
Okay, the second question is easier. The return on cruise ship slots is terrible. And this is evidenced by the fact that the video poker and the video keno have the stingiest pay tables that the slot makers even make. And so I've always said that show me a casino that is stingy with keno and video poker, and I'll show you one that's stingy with reeled slots as well. Now, who regulates them? Most cruise ships have a flag out of Panama or Liberia or whatever country will sell them basically a cheap flag. So I would say that their casinos are essentially unregulated. Like if you have a problem with something that happened on a cruise ship, are you going to write to the government? Are you going to go to Panama and file a complaint there? Probably not. But I do think that the same people that are in casino management here come in and out of management on cruise ship casinos, and I think that they're do a good job of keeping their casinos honest and the integrity high. I think that their dealers are quite good. I think that for a lot of their staff are from Eastern Europe, and I think that to get a cruise ship job is, a good thing for them. And here's a story: is I once went on a cruise, and I was kind of friendly with the casino manager. He recognized me, and you might say that I got special treatment, but I played a lot of poker on this cruise, and normally I don't play a lot of poker. But A, I was kind of bored when the ship was at sea, and B, the caliber of the play was really soft. Like half the players were really terrible, and the other half were really quite good, and just trying to take the money from the terrible ones. And one time I won a big pot, and I cashed in, and it got kind of confusing. And but to make a long story short, they shorted me $100, and then like 2 days later, I got a call from at least I think I got a call. Maybe I just went down in there, but the casino manager came out and he said, "We were reviewing the tape when you cashed out the other day, and we shorted you $100." And he gave me $100 chip.
Wow.
So kudos to them for their honesty. That was with the Norwegian Cruise Line. So I have nothing bad to say about the integrity of cruise ship casinos, but I do. I'm very critical about how tight they set their machines. So if you ever find yourself on a cruise ship, don't play the machines. It's okay to play the table games, just not the machines. And by the way, the rake in the poker game was really high too. I still thought I had an advantage despite the high rake. So be mindful of that. And that is about all I can say about cruise ship casinos.
Okay. So the answer to your trivia question, what was that trivia question one more time? And we'll start showing the answers. What kind of
tree did Jesus curse out?
Was it a Joshua?
Joshua is a person and a book in the Bible, but I have never heard of a Joshua tree.
You've never heard of a Joshua tree?
What is a Joshua tree?
You've seriously never heard of a Joshua tree?
No, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. No, the Joshua tree, like at the U2 album. And okay, you're right. Temporary.
I had that earlier.
I was thinking like Joshua from the Bible, not the Joshua tree that you see all over the place in the Mojave Desert.
Gotcha.
I don't know what got over me there, but no, it was not a Joshua tree.
What about a fig tree?
Yes, absolutely, Darren. You are right. It was a fig tree. And here is the story from Mark chapter 11, verses 12 to 14. The next day, as they were leaving Bethany, Jesus was hungry. Seeing in the distance a fig tree in leaf, he went to find out if it had any fruit. When he researched it, he found nothing but leaves, because it was not the season for figs. Then he said to the tree, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." And his disciples heard him say it.
Ooh.
So I think that was a little bit out of character for Jesus to get angry at a tree because it wasn't bearing figs. And it even says here it was not fig season. Now, some people say it's a parable that to the people of that area, shall we say, not having any faith. I take no position on that. But I thought it was, again, a little out of character for Jesus because he's normally kind of slow to anger.
Yeah, definitely.
Just my opinion. Okay.
So what is our next trivia question?
Okay, here's the next one. Number 12, I think. Yes. What kind of wood did Noah use to make the ark?
And it's not Joshua tree wood.
Okay. Please don't keep rubbing that in.
Sorry. Okay, so while you guys are answering that question, our next question is from, and I just had it. Where was it? There we go. This is from Damien. Question for both of us. I'm thinking about going to Vegas next year. Any tips or suggestions on when to go or times to avoid?
For cheap room rates, both early December is good. The summer is kind of good because it's just so hot here. You want to avoid things like New Year's, the 4th of July, Super Bowl.
EDC.
And
that was crazy.
Yeah. That's about as far as I can take that. Heather, you've lived here longer than me. Maybe you can have a better answer.
Like I said, EDC, during the Electric Daisy parade or carnival or whatever they call it, the prices go from 100, 200 a night all the way to 1,000 to like 1,300 per night. It's insanity. What you were saying too with early December, now it is good to do the full month of December. In the past, we had the National Rodeos final. So the first 2 weeks of December were really busy. However, they just switched that to Texas. So it's no longer in Las Vegas. Now it's in Texas. I think this is like the first year that they're doing it in Texas. Might be the second year. So now the whole month of December is really good for coming here and cheap rates and that type of a thing. Otherwise, I completely agree with everything else you said.
Yeah, and it's easy to say to go midweek if you have any choice.
Yeah, definitely.
So, was there any other part to that?
Are dealers allowed to press their tips if offered? No, dealers are not allowed to press their tips. They have to take their tips. They're not allowed to press them. There is a way to press the tips with dealers. However, it's sort of risky on the dealer's end because it's not their tip. It's still the player's money. You would just take your bet, put $1 on top, you would heel it, tell the dealer that's their bet, and then you could press it as much as you want. At the very end, you could give it to dealer. If you put the money out in front of it, it's an actual tip, and it's the dealer has no choice. They have to take it and drop it in the tote box. They can't press it.
Yep. Okay. Cool. That's about as far as we can take that one. So Heather, what does the audience say about what kind of wood was Noah's Ark made out of?
Is it Acacia wood?
That's not what I'm looking for.
Okay. How about, would it be wood from oak trees?
Not what I'm looking for.
Gopher wood?
Yes. Thought bubbles.
Wow. Nice.
Thought bubbles gets another point. So the interesting thing about this one is Genesis 6:4 says, "Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch," whatever that is. So he tells Noah, God tells Noah to make it out of gopher wood. But what is gopher wood? I've never heard of a gopher tree. Have you? And this is, if I'm not mistaken, this verse is the only time that gopher wood is ever mentioned in the Bible. And it's kind of a mystery, what it is, what is this term gopher wood? And biblical scholars believe that he meant cypress, which was a common kind of tree in the Middle East. But I believe there are other words in Hebrew for cypress. So why gopher wood? I don't know. It's just one of the many mysteries of the Bible. But I think
the first thing
question.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that comes to my mind is a gopher that was petrified and then turned into wood. Petrified gopher wood.
All right. Good one, Heather. Okay. Let's move on to the next question.
Okay.
We've only got 3 more to go. How many Marys does the Gospel of John mention standing at the cross of Jesus? In other words, how many Marys were there at the crucifixion?
Okay. So if you
audience,
guys know,
have at it. And meanwhile, Heather, please ask me another gambling question.
So we got one saying, are there any new strategy videos coming from you soon? Always look forward to those.
Thanks. I'm afraid there's no strategy videos in the pipeline. By the way, my friend Angela moved out of Las Vegas. She lives in Tennessee now. So we're probably going to see less of her. I hope to make some videos with her if she comes and visits Vegas. But I kind of feel that I've covered every game out there pretty well. But I am probably going to make some magic trick videos, and
Oh,
I'm already, shall we say, planning what tricks to use, and I'm looking for, shall we say, some models to be the audience, and I have a videographer lined up, and
nice.
so this is definitely in the talking about stage. And so look forward to that. And I did just make a very long video, about 25 minutes long, that explains the game, the slot machine, 88 Fortunes. So, it's not my usual kind of video, but I endeavor to explain how that game works. And I probably will make more slot machine videos in the near future.
Okay. And we got a quick question too. How are taxes handled for jackpots and big table wins?
Okay, for jackpots, if you win $1,200 or more, then you're going to get then they're going to give you what's called a W-2G form, and this is basically a declaration that they send to the government that you won this money, and they will ask for a social security number. If you don't provide one, then they are going to take the taxes out of that jackpot. So if you are not a U.S. citizen, they are going to take taxes out of that jackpot. Now you can ask for that money back, especially if you're from Canada, but you need to fill out some particular form and go through that bureaucracy. Don't know much about it. But if you do provide a social security number, they will give you the full amount of the money, but the IRS is going to know about it, and you should declare it on your taxes. Otherwise, you may get audited, and they will basically ask, how come you didn't declare that jackpot? So, and I could talk all day about offsetting gambling winnings. One could write a book about that. So, but that is the short answer to a difficult question.
Oh, I thought it was an easy question. I'm sorry I threw that on you and it was a difficult question.
Well, I mean, what I just said was easy to say, but the whole taxation of gambling winnings is kind of complicated. And so, I don't want to get too deeply in that with only about 7 minutes to go.
In that case, answers to the trivia?
Yes. Okay. How many Marys were there?
Was there 3?
There were indeed 3. Shadow 22 gets a point.
Ooh,
So
nice.
to elaborate on that, John 19:25 says, near the cross of Jesus stood his mother's sister, and Mary. Near the cross of Jesus stood his mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. So most people know about Mary, Jesus's mother, and Mary Magdalene, but there's also basically Jesus's aunt, Mary, wife of Clopas. And we don't know much about Mary, wife of Clopas, but she was there. So 3 Marys witnessed the crucifixion.
Very
that
cool.
That is good trivia. Okay, here we go. Question 14. What was the name of the place where God confused the languages of the earth? So this is kind of the explanation to why there are so many different languages on earth. There is a story in the Bible about it. So where does the story say that God got kind of angry and confused people with different languages?
So put it in the chat.
Yep.
And until then, our next question comes from Rodney. I've been learning how to play Pai Gow Tiles, and I'm almost ready to play it in a live casino. Are there any unique ways to tip a tiles dealer besides the usual methods found on most tables?
No, it's just the usual. I will make a bet for the dealer, and an interesting thing is if you make just a small bet for the dealer, they don't take a commission out of it, like $5. At least I don't think they do. So that's what I do. You can just tip directly, but there's nothing special about tipping in Pai Gow Tiles.
Okay. Do you want to do another question, or do you want to do the answers?
That was a quick one, so ask me another one.
Okay. So next one is from Metin. Do you have any tips in winning at sports games, which you must guess 13 consecutive soccer game results in one column?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. That was easy too.
Yep. Okay. What does the audience say about where did God confuse people with different languages? And I see the answer. Many people got that one right. That would be Babel.
Yep. Tower of Babel. So
the story there briefly is that people were trying to build a tower leading up to heaven, and God got angry about this, and what he did about it was he kind of separated the different people, and they all formed their own different languages. So there you go. And one final, the very last trivia question. I think this one is also kind of an easy one. Who did God turn into a pillar of salt because he or she looked back at the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah?
Okay, so if you guys
audience,
know.
And Heather asked, we only have 3 more minutes, so.
Last one. Again, if we didn't get to your question, do apologize for that. The sooner you ask the question, the earlier you ask the question, the more likely it is we will be able to answer it. Our last question comes from Gary. When playing video poker with a progressive, is there a rule of thumb for how much it adds to the return? For example, at one point, does an 8-5 job with a progressive become a good return?
Yeah, job stands for jacks or better. Oh. Any progressive game will turn positive at some point. And you know, how much a progressive adds to the return depends upon how high the progressive is. So, so with 8-5 jacks or better, let me go to my site real quick to look up the return on that. In fact, I don't think I even need to. So that should be about 97.5%. And I do know that a normal 800 to 1 Royal contributes about 2% to the Royal. So I think the Royal would need to pay about 1,800 times your bet amount for 8-5 jacks or better to be just break even. And this is all just mental math, but that is my rough estimate off the top of my head.
Okay. And before we go to the answer of the trivia, I know we're almost done. We have a comment saying the folks over at CEG Dealer School recently cited you and your live stream and your podcast and your YouTube channel as basically the go-to guy in Vegas for casino and gambling related math questions. Kudos.
Right. You know, compliments from your peers are the best kind of compliments. So thank you very much. If anyone with the CEG Dealer School is listening, that means a lot to me. And by the way, speaking of, maybe it's a little off topic, but just before the show, I was going through my email, and a math puzzle that I presented to them is going to be used in the next Mensa newsletter.
Oh, that's neat. Wow, that's really cool.
Thank you. So that's an honor to be to contribute to the Mensa newsletter. And okay, so what does the peanut gallery have to say about who got turned into a pillar of salt?
Was it the wife?
Whose wife?
Ooh, whose wife? Let's see if they're more specific.
I see the right answer.
Lot's wife?
Shadow 22 and Cantil 2 both got it right. It was Lot's wife. What's Lot's wife's name, you might ask? The Bible does not say.
Oh.
But God found Lot and his family to be the only righteous people living in Sodom and Gomorrah, and he told them to evacuate immediately and don't look back. And then they fled away, and everyone but Lot's wife just didn't look back, but Lot's wife did, and God got angry about it. Seems to be a common theme, and turned her into a pillar of salt.
Okay, and it looks like Gary Branch was the first one to answer that correctly.
All right. Well, so that's it. That's an hour. So I did want to put in a good word for where I got these questions. That would be notsoboringbible.com. They have one trivia question after another. And the questions I asked, well, some of them I did myself, like the 2 books of the Bible that don't mention God, and the last one about Lot's wife. And I think the previous one. Yeah, but most of these do come from notsoboringbible.com, and they're not preachy at all. It's a fun site, and they reference Wikipedia a lot in their answers. So I really like the way they think about what makes for a good trivia question. And like I said, most of everything that I just asked, I got from them. So again, kudos to them. Thank you very much. And thank you very
really
much,
had
Heather.
fun. Yeah, you're welcome. People had fun. They really enjoyed this. Thoughts Bubble says, I love this show. This is one of my favorite live ones because Michael interacts with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the compliment. And thank you, audience, for coming. Always appreciate it. Thank you, Heather, for helping. And everybody missed you last week. It was a very chaotic show. So I'm very happy to have you back.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Happy to be back. And when is the next time we're going to see your live stream? When are we doing this again?
Okay, let me pull out my calendar here. So today is November 4th. So how about November 18th?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, let me write that down. And sorry about that phone. Okay, so that's it for this show. Thanks again, audience, and I will see you in 2 weeks.
Sounds good. Oh, you can do it. I can't.
You can't do it?
I have to cross my fingers.
How can a Star Trek fan not be able to do the Spock thing?
I have to cross my fingers, and then it looks like a gain sign, like I'm flashing gain signs and everything. It just doesn't work. Okay, bye, everyone. See you later.